Welcome to Speak to the Dark Parts, the podcast where we explore real life through the lens of astrology. I'm Caitlin, your empowerment coach and astrologer, and your guide on this journey of self-love and acceptance. Are you someone who feels like they don't fit in? Do you know deep down there's more waiting for you on the other side of fear? If so, you're in the right place. Here, we embrace the dark parts, the parts we've been taught to hide, the very parts that make us unique and beautiful, like our sensitivities, insecurities, creativity, and desires. These are the parts we learn to hide in order to fit in and make those around us feel more comfortable while denying our own truth, which leads to shame, anxiety, depression, and finding unhealthy ways to cope with living a life on someone else's terms. Through the wisdom of astrology and our own inner compass, we learn to fall in love with the parts we once wanted to hide, allowing us to shine brightly in a world that needs our light. So, if you know you're destined for more and are ready to break the mold, let's dive in. I've been having a bit of a hard time finding the written word, so I thought I would try something new or bring something back rather. I've done this before in the past on the podcast, but not for a while. And I'm curious to hear how it lands. I'm curious to hear how you guys like these or don't like them. Because I am in a place fitting because there's a lot of energy going on in my 10th house right now, which is the house of my career. So I'm kind of in this space, and we'll talk about this today on the podcast. I'm in this space of slowing down, reconnecting, not only to myself, but also to spirit, to what's guiding me, that guiding force, the vision. I find myself coming back to the vision and thinking about like what do I want to do here? What do I think sometimes, and if you are a creator online of any sort, whether you're a writer, whether you are like a content creator on social media, whether you are an artist, whether you're a dancer, like whatever it is, whether you're an actor, like anything, or whether you're creating like programs or offering a service to people, pretty much anything that involves you taking something from within, from your imagination and like creating it and putting it into the world, there is this reconnection to the vision that needs to happen, or else it's very easy to lose sight of where you're going. And I'm curious to hear if you do create in some sort of fashion for your community at any scale. I'm curious if you can relate to this feeling of like all of a sudden you're creating stuff and you're like, whoa, 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 like back up, back up. Why am I doing this? How did I get here? Hopefully sooner than later, but at any stage, I think it's important to kind of come back to the why. And I know like so many people say this, but at this point in the year for me, especially Aquarius season coming into Pisces season, there's this feeling of like going within and thinking like, what is my motivator? Why do I show up the way that I'm showing up? Is there anything that I'm creating that like I've kind of fallen into the habits, or like I'm searching for acceptance or like something outside of me? And this is kind of that time of the year for me where I come back within and I'm thinking about like what feels real to me? What do I want to create? Especially with Aquarius season right now, and it is in my 8th house, so I'm a little bit more hermit-like. And also there's a lot of Pisces energy in the sky, so we're going to talk about that today. So if you're feeling a little bit like sensitive or emotional, empathic, There's a lot of stuff happening in the air, and I am going to talk about it today as we go through the astrology of the month. So, like I said, I haven't done this in a while, and I'm curious to hear if you do like these, please let me know, and I'll continue to do them every month. As long as it feels aligned. This is one of those things that I'm playing with. I'm like, is this something that I enjoy? So this is kind of an experiment for me to see, okay, do I enjoy this? Do other people enjoy it? And where is that line? Is it something that I want to continue to produce, or is something else going to take its place? So that's kind of where I am right now. So I appreciate any feedback. I also appreciate you coming along for the experiment with me because this is the only way that I've found to be able to kind of come back to myself as well, is to just create some things, put it out there, see how it lands, see how I feel, and go from there. It's like a lifelong experiment. So I know I'm a little late. It's the 7th of February as I'm recording this right now, but I wanted to go through the astrology of February, pretty basic, just something to connect you with the cosmos and to, like, if you're feeling a certain way, this is kind of that way to remember, like, oh yeah, I'm not crazy. It's the energy. So, like I said, it's the 7th of February, so we've already gone through a couple transits. And of course, I'm not going to touch on every single transit. We would be here for hours, and I don't want to take up your precious time. One of the big things, a couple of big things that have already happened, Jupiter went direct. So these Jupiter is often known as like the planet of luck. I'm not sure about that. That's probably a topic for another day. It can be a lucky planet. I think Jupiter direct is a time where, so Jupiter has been retrograde. We've been reviewing like the things that we believe. Maybe our beliefs have been tested, our core beliefs, what has been passed down to us, what society on the outside. And I talked about this in a previous podcast about the Jupiter-Saturn square. So this is an energy that we've been under for a while, and it's kind of highlighting what had started in 2020, 2021. But there is a separate podcast on that. But now Jupiter has gone direct. This feels a lot like clarity around our beliefs, maybe a coming back to self with our beliefs, maybe restructuring how we perceive the world around us. Maybe we've done some experimentation in our own beliefs or playing with the fact that, like, okay, if I, like, what's holding me back, basically? What is holding me back? What do I tell myself? What are the stories I tell myself? And how is that affecting my life? So there may be some clarity around that as Jupiter went direct on February 4th. And then on the 5th, Venus entered Aries. So there's this like little more fire in the sky. Right now, as it stands, there's a lot of air and water, and we're like coming a little bit into fire. So when there's a lot of air energy in the sky, I know I've been feeling this. I know a lot of people here may know like what's been going on in my life, maybe not, but I've kind of had like a curveball thrown at me with housing and just kind of thinking about where I want my life to go. And there's been a lot of anxiety around it. But with all of this air in the sky, this is like a time where anxieties can be heightened, especially with that Aquarian energy. The sun's in Aquarius, Mercury's in Aquarius, Pluto is also in Aquarius. As I'm recording this, the moon and Jupiter are both in Gemini. There's a lot of Gemini, Aquarius, and it's like electric energy, mental energy. So if you're feeling like very much in the head, there's a lot of air in the sky. So some remedies to this may be like grounding, taking deep breaths, like literally filling your body with air, noticing what's going on. Oftentimes, when there's a lot of air in the sky, it can feel like we're not in our body. So we have to like remember to come back to the body because it's very busy energy when you think of like air in the sky, a breeze like blowing around and like the leaves are all blowing around. It's like, whoo, there's a lot going on and there's a lot to focus on. It's like that, oh, squirrel, oh, shiny thing. Like there's this energy of like a lot of moving parts. So at the beginning of February, it's feeling very much air. And then coming on to the end of February in the next couple of weeks, we have a lot of these planets moving into Pisces. And we also have like Neptune and Saturn in Pisces and also the North Node in Pisces. So there's a lot of energy right now in Pisces as well. But in another couple weeks, we're going to have a lot more going on in Pisces and the new moon in Pisces. So we're moving from that air energy to the mutable water Pisces energy, where it's like, okay, there's this sensitivity, there's this like empathic feeling. And I've been seeing a lot of that online now too, like in people's comments. I tend to like notice the themes in other people's work that they put online too. And it's really interesting to notice the themes. And I've been seeing a lot, especially with everything that's going on in the States. A lot of people are feeling sensitive, are feeling like other people's pain. There's like this feeling of like connection. Pisces is very much the we are one energy, and like your pain is my pain, your joy is my joy. It's like, yeah, where do I end and where do you begin? And sometimes that can get blurred with the osmosis of Pisces energy. But Venus is in Aries. Venus is our planet of love, of money, of relationships. It's our desires, what we enjoy. And when it's in Aries, so it was in Pisces, and it's very much like creative and romantic. And then when Venus moves into Aries, it's like, okay, what do I want? It's like that me first attitude. We're following our independent desires and not necessarily in a way of like, okay, I'm the most important person in the world and like whatever I want goes. That would probably be the lower end of the low road of Venus in Aries. It's like me and nobody else. But the high road would be like fighting for what we value, really noticing what we value. And it can be a little more quick than Venus in Pisces. It can feel like spur of the moment if there's like someone asks you to do something or you see like a video on online and you're like, "Oh, I want to do that." And then you just like get up and do it. It's like action oriented. So we're like following our desires. We are fighting for what we believe in, speaking up possibly, and it's a lot more fiery, a lot more quick. And it will retrograde in Aries next month. We'll talk a little bit more about that after. But then on the 7th of February, which is today, as I'm recording this, actually, it is exact right now. I'm looking at the chart at 28 degrees and 9 minutes. That doesn't happen very often, that I catch it like exactly as it is. But the North Node in Pisces is conjunct Neptune in Pisces. And this is really just like, it's actually funny now that I'm thinking about this and what I was talking about at the beginning. Just like, reimagining, envisioning the dream. Like, what is your dream? And the North Node is that activation point. It's our evolution. It's where we're headed. It's the thing that we're meant to like lean into, especially during this time while the North Node just moved into Pisces and it's going to be there for the next 17, 18 months now. So it is a time to really lean into that creative spirit, into that trust with source, with God, with your higher power, with the universe, whatever you want to call it, it doesn't matter. That energy that is outside of yourself, connecting to that energy, really trusting that if you do have a dream, we all have a dream, but like reconnecting to that dream and making sure that you're on the right track or you're at least aware of the dream and then noticing when things start falling into place, trusting that the path will illuminate on the way. You don't have to have all of the answers. It's a co-creation, you and the universe. It's like that creative energy that I was talking about at the beginning. It's like making sure that the path is clear, making sure that the channel is clear, reconnecting to yourself, reconnecting to your values, Venus in Aries. It's like reconnecting to what makes like what motivates you and trusting that the path's going to illuminate along the way. You don't have to have all the answers. You just have to have that inspiration. You have to have that imagination and just connecting to the energy of trust, compassion, self-compassion as well is a big one, especially with that South Node in Virgo. And then on the 10th, Mercury Cazimi. This is a time where Mercury is in the heart of the sun. The sun's rays kind of shine Mercury's energy down on us. And this can be a time where insights come, especially with Mercury and the sun in Aquarius. It's that like scientist, inventive, like innovative energy where it's already that innovative energy, but then there's this like when the sun's rays are shining it onto us, it's like, oh, aha, these are the aha moments where it's like, duh, like, why didn't I see that before? It's just like these sparks of insight. So keeping an eye on that around February 10th. February 12th, the sun squares Uranus. So there may be a little bit of tension. Who are we? Who are we trying to be? Are we living authentically? Are we wearing a mask? Are we trying to have people perceive us as something that we're not? This is where the anxiety can come up too. When we're like pretending to be something we're not, we're presenting ourselves as something we're not. And then it's like, oh, I'm so like anxious. This is exhausting trying to keep up with this charade. So Sun Square Uranus can kind of poke that a little bit. It's like, okay, are you being who you say you are? Like, are you actually that person? Where in your life can you make adjustments? This can also be very electric energy. Fast things can happen where it's like, whoop, and it's gone, especially with Uranus in Taurus. It's like security, foundation, self-esteem. It's like maybe those things that we cling to may be taken away or maybe shaken up. And then we're left with like our inner security, our inner resources. How can I turn to what's inside to allow me to be who I am and to trust that that is enough? And then we have the full moon in Leo that same day. So the full moon is going to square Uranus as well. So this energy is going to be very loud with that full moon energy. Like full moons are already intense, they're already high energy. And with the full moon in Leo, it's like, are you being yourself? And are you confident in that? Like, are you actually confident or is it like inflated ego? So this is that time where there's going to be some illuminations around that. And then February 14th, Valentine's Day, perfect time for Mercury in Pisces. So Mercury is going to move from Aquarius to Pisces, and this is so romantic. It's like creative. It's like the poet. It's the artist. It's the painter. It's the dancer. It's like the expression of human consciousness, of the collective consciousness in a way that makes us feel something. It's creative, it's imaginative, it's like Mercury in Pisces is the most poetic. It's like the people who speak in poems. And like Mercury is comfortable in Virgo, and with Virgo being opposite of Pisces, Mercury doesn't necessarily like to be in Pisces because it feels a bit like less detailed. It's more like expansive, and Mercury really likes the details. It likes the nitty-gritty, but I think there's beauty in Mercury in Pisces because it is just like it does things differently. It doesn't play by the rules of like traditional mercurial energy. It's like very expansive. It's very loving, it's very compassionate. It's also another opportunity to kind of go within to find those answers, prayer, um, like ritual, just like making, like romanticizing communication, our thoughts, like really leaning into the dream. It's like that self-compassion that like talking to yourself the way that you would talk to a loved one, I think is a very good expression of this energy. And then the sun is going to enter Pisces a few days later, February 18th. So I like to think of Pisces season as kind of like the closing of the year. because the astrological new year will be on the first day of Aries season. So this is kind of like the December of the astrological world. So if you aren't like, I know it's February, but if you like haven't gotten the whole goal setting or like New Year stuff on on the ball, is that the word I'm looking for? Rolling. You don't got that ball rolling. It's okay. It's actually like if you're not doing those things, you're actually probably a little bit more in tune than the rest of us who follow the Gregorian calendar. And also Mars is still retrograde. There's like this energy, this slowness, and with Pisces energy, it is endings. It's like, okay, rest. It's like going within, it's letting go. It's that feeling of like connecting with spirit, connecting with your own energy. So Pisces season can feel a little bit more like a hermit season, where it's like the month of Pisces season can feel like, okay, I'm not really feeling to be in other people's energy, or I need to spend time in my own energy so that I know who I am. There's this sense of like really needing to reconnect, whether it be to self, to spirit. So the at the end of February, we are kind of tying things up. Mars will also go direct not long after that. So we may feel a little bit of that energy start to ramp up. So Mars has been retrograde for quite a while. When did it go retrograde? It went retrograde in December. So December 7th, December 6th, depending on where you are in the world. So our masculine energy, our like external output has been moving backwards in the sky. So it's like it's been a winter of slowness. It's been a winter of like settling in, of resting, of taking it slow, of just like really being mindful of our energetic outputs. I know a lot of people have been getting sick. I think like of course like winter time is that season where people often get sick, but I think like I don't think it's I think this year it's kind of like, okay, where are we pushing too hard? Maybe we ignored the clues that we were getting sick and didn't listen. So on February 24th, Mars is going to move direct, and that masculine energy, that energetic output is going to increase a little bit. It is still going to be in Cancer. So there is this sense of like checking in with our emotional body before we're doing anything like very energetic. It's like, okay, do I feel like, is this something that feels good to me, or am I just doing it to like get it done? So noticing, reconnecting to how we are motivated and moving forward from the heart, from our emotional body. Are we feeling grounded enough to like take that step? Is this something that feels good to me, or am I doing it to like please someone? These are going to be some questions that may be helpful to ask before doing anything, essentially. Lastly, the new moon in Pisces. So this will be the last new moon workshop that we're going to do before eclipse season. Eclipse season starts next month. Oh my goodness. So this is going to be the last new moon workshop. If you want to learn more about the new moon in Pisces, sink into this energy, set intentions for the end of the astrological year. This will be the time to do it on February 28th. And like I said, there is like a lot of water in the sky at that time. It is going to be a time of slowdown, essentially. 4 planets plus the North Node in Pisces at the end of the month. I think it's going to be 5 when the sun moves in, maybe, with the moon and the sun. There's going to be a lot of energy in Pisces. So just being mindful of your energy and where you are placing it, what is taking up your time, what's taking up the space, and if you need to go slow, it's okay. So I'd love to see you at the New Moon in Pisces Circle if you want to join. It will be the last one before we take a break for a month, and I'd love to see you there. Otherwise, it'll be on the replay. And also let me know if you like these month ahead podcasts, because this is something that I think can be helpful for people just to kind of get a sense of what's going on in the cosmos, the natural cycles, and feeling like, oh, yeah, I am feeling a little bit anxious, and it's okay because it's Aquarius season. Or, yeah, I'm happy that like I know that Pisces season is coming and like there's going to be a slowdown and I don't have to push or like my natural instincts may be telling me like not to push and it's okay. So that's my intention with this, just to reconnect you with the nature and give you, I guess, permission slips that sometimes we feel we need. And myself included, it's like, okay, I have been feeling a little bit anxious and it's okay to ground. It's okay to say no. It's okay to take care of yourself. So I hope this is at least helpful in that process for you. I'd love to hear how you like these, what you like about them, if there's anything else you want to see, because I am kind of restructuring a little bit and thinking and feeling into where I want this space to go. Yeah, and I'm happy to have you along for the ride. So that's February. We'll see you next month for March. And in the meantime, I'll catch you on Substack. Bye.